my child, I feel I can do it, but I'm also a reading specialist. So depending on what their experiences are, certainly not impossible.
Not impossible, but not highly likely.
I would recommend it if it's a child with significant learning disabilities in the area of literacy. That's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And you have to be able to keep the data to see where progress is being made, not being made, and adjust your instruction.
Because that's all part of the requirement.
Yeah, yeah. It's a science teaching kids to read. It's a struggle, it really is. But it's
Everything else?
start to read.
Anything else you wanted to add?
No, any questions anybody has? I'd be happy to answer. Of course, you know, we always want those munchkins in school. Especially in these younger years, you know, so you can help make sure those gaps don't get huge up there. Yeah. Those first 3 years for literacy are really critical. You know, the data shows if you're not a fluent reader by the end of second grade, you're going to struggle from then on. And fluent, you know, means a certain reading rate and percent accuracy with your reading and percent, you know, a certain level of comprehension. Doesn't mean perfect. Doesn't mean perfect. It's super fast, but there's a certain literacy rate that you look at by the end of second grade.
School administrators meeting, that was something I had,
So their next meeting is October 5th. And I spoke with one of our associate superintendent, Esther Asbell, is actually on the executive board. She's the Southeastern's representative. And so she said the October 5th meeting was planned like months ago. It was pretty full. She says you could come, we could come as visitors, because they always have a visitor section, if depending on how much time we wanted. But if you want to get on the agenda, she suggested that we contact Cara directly and say, so what's the best month to get on your agenda? So I thought maybe we needed to talk more about how much time do we have, what's our actual goal. I did spend my days at the summer conference this year reminding everyone, yeah, so y'all know I'm on here. I'm going to go to for home education. And because I'm not a superintendent, even though I go to the regional meetings, the Southeasters meetings, and some of the state level things, I don't go to these state meetings because I just think I have to do my job. Special ed director, I go to those meetings. So I think that, you know, it's, they don't necessarily remember that I am here representative around the state. I think the Southeasters group, they definitely know, but it's all the other regions, they don't really know because I'm not a superintendent, so they don't see me all the time. They see me 2 or 3 times a year.
So do you think it would be worthwhile for us to go and sit and listen, even if we can't get on the agenda? What's your take?
No. No, I don't, and I don't know exactly what the agenda is. It might be around competency-based education. But, yeah, I mean, what would we be listening for?
Well, get a feel for what kinds of issues they're dealing with, some context.
Yeah, there may be, you know, as a member, I could stay for the whole meeting, but there may be parts of the meeting that you would not be able to stay for because it's a meeting of the membership association or whatever. I can get more specifics of the agenda for you if you want. And October, that was kind of sooner than I thought. I don't know why I thought that later in the 2 Fridays. Yeah. And I'm just trying to get my calendar. I don't even know can do October 5th when she told me, I'm like, October 5th. I can't do that.
You can?
No. I was just chatting. But I think it would be worthwhile to contact, who did you say, Carl?
Carl
Ladd. I think it'd be worthwhile to contact them and see, provided we have a goal, like you said.
Right.
What are we trying to accomplish by hearing these meetings and speaking to them? But I think that would be worthwhile to try to get on the agenda for November, if not December meeting.
But there are, I think you had said there were monthly meetings. Some of these groups meet monthly, right?
Yes, the regional meetings are monthly, and then representatives from the region go to a state meeting each month. And then, so it's usually not every superintendent goes to the state level meeting from each region. Like our regional person at Southeasters is Esther Asbell. She happens to be from ISAU, so that's convenient for me. But she'll come back to the Southeasters meeting and say, at the state meeting, it sort of saves people's time. Instead of everybody, every superintendent thinking they're all going to make it to a monthly state meeting, it's not going to happen. But there's a conduit for that communication to keep going back and forth. I don't know where I was going with that.
I would tend to go with what you recommend.
Okay. Yeah, so I think, we should discuss what it is you want to talk about, just in,
We want to make them aware that if there are any issues, whatever they might be, that concern the relationship of homeschoolers with the district, anything that's coming up, they're more than welcome to let us know about it so we can anticipate it and try to do something, try to solve the problem. I don't have anything.
I was going to say, do you have examples that we could give them of, for instance, when this issue came up?
Yeah.
No one consulted with HEAC, and we could have been helpful to that parent. Because I see HEAC probably as being more of a resource for the parent rather than necessarily the district.
Yeah, we've done the same with the district in the past too.
Oh, really?
This is what, so, Kitty, you had a couple of things, right?
Yeah, we've had a couple of requests that have been put into us, just districts asking parents to provide more information than they're legally required to, things like credentials or, curriculum and things like that, and saying, just basically asking for things that they have no legal requirement or ability to ask for.
Is that because they just don't understand the changes in the law?
I think maybe the parent also doesn't understand them, but definitely the district as well. And the parent is looking to the district as the authority and assuming that they know what's best, especially new homeschoolers. And you have examples too, right?
Yeah, just last year, a potential law came out of Berlin. We had to all go to the State House.
Right.
And you would think if somebody's so upset about something, come here and talk about it before going to change the law.
Right.
That
So it was a school district that was trying to get a law change?
It's a superintendent.
Yeah,
Oh, superintendent.
and, yeah, so before putting forth a bill,
I remember
have a
that.
conversation.
Hello.
Oh, there.
How's everybody doing?
Yeah.
Good to see you. Hey guys.
I forgot to tell them you were coming.
Well, I just had a couple of minutes to stop in. So,
Yeah, right.
yeah. But I just wanted to welcome everybody to the first meeting of the year. And it's good that you can be here. I appreciate your willingness to show up and help in any way that you can. I was trying to think of home education issues that have kind of been on the radar. And there are two things that I think are important that I just thought I would share with you. One is, we're working on a technical advisory right now to go out. And one of the things that we have seen, and probably what's been holding up the technical advisory a little bit, is the rules seem to go a little bit beyond the law in terms of some of the things that are asked in there, particularly around transfers. Like we've got a whole section on what you're supposed to do if you're a home education student and you're transferring from one district to another district. But there's nothing in the statute to support that. And so again, we just want to make sure that the rules are they're reflective of the statute. And so that is one thing that I don't know if you guys want to just, if you were interested in kind of having a look at, here's what the law says and here's what the rules say, and make sure that there's some alignment and some consistency there. I think that I would, in this advisory capacity, that's something I would be interested in, kind of your thoughts about that. And then the other thing, that really, I'm interested in input from the public school system in particular. Because I continue to hear kind of an ongoing refrain, and I think you probably heard it as well, you hear from some folks. there seems to be increasing conversation around families that make an election to home educate, and not everybody. Sometimes you hear folks say in the public school system they're concerned that those students are not being educated, right? So people are using the home education, election to just get their kids away from school, but maybe they're not home educating. And what are we going to do about this, right? And I just want to be very sensitive about that because I know from my own personal and anecdotal experience that many, actually all the home education families that I know are fully engaged in educating your kids in a really good way and doing a great job with it. And so we want to continue to support them. I think maybe even just some communication might be an option. I don't know, you guys tell me what you think is a good way to do this. I want to make sure that people understand what it means to make an election to home educate. Making an election to home educate, for those of us who've ever home educated, right? That's the easy part, quite frankly. Home educating your kids is the hard part, right? Getting the job done. And so there's a difference between electing to home educate and home educate. So simply because you have filed an election to home educate doesn't mean that you met the requirements of the statute to now home educate, right? That's why I say that's the hard part. So I think there might, I don't know if you guys want to have some conversation about that, but there might be a way to kind of communicate to folks like, yes, we have great laws that help support home education families, but with great, privilege like that comes the responsibility to then actually do the home education aspects as well. And I think if we do that, maybe that will help some of the folks in the public education system who are concerned about people just filing an election and they believe that maybe they're not home educating. They'll recognize the importance of, that we recognize the responsibility of home education is not filing an election, it's getting the home education part done, right? I don't know what your thoughts are on that, coming from, kind of superintendent's perspective.
I don't hear a lot of that in our SAU. I mean, I'm
Okay.
down in the Seacoast, Exeter area, so, I don't.
You don't get that? Yeah.
No, I don't hear so much of that.
Okay. So I have heard it in the North Country some, and obviously that was the origination of some of that last year. There was that bill, and then I was just at a conference the other day, and there was an educator from North said the same kind of thing. How are they educating the kids, right? So I think it's just making sure that you understand the filing. And in my own mind, I'm thinking what they're saying is that people think that you file an election and that's all you have to do. And again, that's the easy part. Educating your kids is the hard part, and we all know who've been involved in this stuff, they've all worked involved in that. So those are some of the thoughts that I have. I don't know if you guys have any questions for me as you kind of kick off and you think about what you're going to be doing. So, any thoughts from me?
Well, we were just talking about going to one of the state meetings for NHSA to kind of remind them that we're here as a council to, field their questions and concerns,
That'd be great.
so that they remember this could be a conduit for some conversation.
Right, so if they have those concerns, this is a place where they can tell us.
Exactly, either
That would
through
be great.
myself or through the Principals Association, or, they have a school board seat, but it's not filled yet, the school
Yeah.
association, so, we could bring those concerns here and
Okay.
some good information back to them.
Okay, I think that actually is a pretty good idea. I like that.
Because if they're here, whether it's through a representative or if one of the superintendents would want to actually show up, we have no problem with that either, so they can make their own,
They come with their concerns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, it's a lot better to have that than to hear several months down the road after they've had these concerns and they want to do something about it, a piece of legislation comes up.
Right, so let's work together to try and help alleviate those concerns.
Right.
Okay.
It seems like a lot of those concerns come out on a case-by-case basis.
They're always the anecdotes, right? You
Right,
know?
and it's more of like a let's have a personal conversation with people, but at least letting them know that we're here,
Yeah,
rather than running straight to the state house to make
right.
a new bill would be
Okay.
wonderful.
So are you gonna take that as a to-do to bring it up at the next superintendent's meeting? Okay, good.
Because I think too that if some of these are more individual cases in individual places, and maybe we can do something outside of changing law and rules. Maybe there's something we can do to address the
Well, I mean,
particular situation.
there's gonna be anecdotes. I mean, there are anecdotes in the normal public school system where you have kids who don't show up and they're not
Every day.
getting educated. Yeah, exactly. So in other words, like that, I don't think that, that problem is unique to the home education population. It's just, some parents are struggling to, function at the highest capacity. And, so you figure out how do you support them without being punitive to the folks that are actually doing the job.
Right.
I think a lot of it is just either misrepresentation, though, because I think sometimes the district might look at a family and say they're not homeschooling because it doesn't look like public school. And I know a lot of families that have outside the box models, right? And the kids are thriving.
Yes.
And so I think that's, it's almost like the windmill. You know what I mean? I think that's a lot of the problem is that because the kids are sitting down, 9 to 3, they must not be home educating them. But most homeschoolers will say, it might take us 45 minutes to cover the exact same content that public school can cover, so.
So what might be helpful too is, I don't know if you know this, so we had the curriculum instruction conference this week. Did any of you guys get to go?
No, I got a report back from it though.
Did you hear about that? I had an unschooling speaker.
Yes, at lunchtime.
Yes, exactly. And as I told people, I'm like, just to expose you to the full gamut of what's out there, right? So if we're professionals, if you're a professional educator, you need to know what the full scope of possibilities is. So maybe even as those kinds of things will help break that down and recognize that that those are options. As I said in my introductory comments, unschoolers make homeschoolers feel uncomfortable. So and it's good for us sometimes to feel a little bit uncomfortable and get to the edge and bend our minds and stretch ourselves a little bit. So. Hopefully some of those communications, and maybe this group can help with some of that communication as well.
I don't know if we're going to be able to defeat that kind of rumor mill, because if a student's in school